Well, that day is going to be Wednesday. That's when you're going to know whether Arsenal is going to the finals of the Champions League 2025 or not. And guess what? Very many people have come up and obviously something to say about what we have to say about this beautiful game of football. Before we drop the match preview tomorrow, guess who has come out and obviously given us his verdict on who he thinks will go to the finals of the Champions League in this encounter that is highly anticipated to be played in Paris as PSG entertains the club of Arsenal there. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rokani David is my name and hope you guys are really having fun wherever you are, and continue to subscribe because we want to hit 30,000 subscribers. You know that very, very well. Now, Gary Neville is really an English journalist, pundit, commentator who really works with Sky Sports. He has hugely come out and had the following to say about this game of PSG that is going to be played on Wednesday. And this is what Gary Neville had to say in his own words. The worry for Arsenal is that they played their strongest side against Bournemouth and still lost. But I genuinely think Arsenal can do it. I think they can go to PSG and do it. I went there with Bex once to watch Madrid play there and I saw them, PSG, get nervous. Obviously, when the result is 1-0, this is where people get it wrong. That is really one of the moments that you can obviously look at and really understand that it is always and still open, especially when they really went ahead to obviously revoke the away goals rule. And that means that any score, any win of Arsenal with a win of 2 goals, Arsenal goes through. Any win with Arsenal having a difference of 1 goal, they go to extra time. That is it. So that's exactly what you're really talking about in here onto the Rokani Media Football. And Gary Neville has said this, and I think he has sent it directly to the people at Arsenal, and he's trying to obviously show them that everything is possible. At 1-0, everything is possible, and it's not all that bad. Though I think some people have come up and obviously come up and obviously said lots of things that maybe it's over for the club of Arsenal and Mikel Arteta. Something I don't really believe in, because I've lived so much longer to see teams go and really make overheads or really overturning results. At PSG, I told you, 2018-2019, I saw a club known as Man United overturning a 2-0 defeat into a 3-1 defeat to knock out PSG at the round of 16. I saw Liverpool beat PSG 1-0 this exact Premier League Champions League season, though PSG had what we call the lion's share of the possession. They had the most threatening attacks, and even when they came to England, when they really had the most threatening when Liverpool had the most threatening attacks, PSG went ahead to beat Liverpool. So it can happen vice versa. You understand? So I tell you what, I really buy into what Gary Neville is really saying, that it's still possible for Arsenal to knock out the side of PSG, though most people are like, Arsenal is done. But I think there is still green light at the end of the tunnel, and I 100% believe in these people coming up and obviously putting in the required shift altogether, especially the players of Arsenal, to see to it that all goes on well as planned. And I know Mikel Arteta will obviously have a plan to obviously see things go into his way. Then let's obviously have Gary Neville. He added and said, there is such an expectation around PSG winning the Champions League. It will be hostile for the first 20 minutes. And if they score, it will continue to be hostile. However, if you can get a goal, which Arsenal definitely can, either from a set piece or a counter-attack or a bit of brilliancy, I think you can see and feel the mood changing in that stadium. I think Arsenal are in with a shout this week. It's a huge game for Arsenal. It's a season-defining game and could be career-defining for some of the players if they come from behind to beat PSG. Obviously, this is what the right game plan should be for the club of Arsenal. 1, either they score fast or they don't concede in the first 20 minutes. And this is what they did when they're playing against PSG. You remember PSG came up and obviously put a lot of pressure onto the club of against Real Madrid. First 15 minutes, Madrid was all over the place, but they failed to obviously find the net. And with that, Arsenal grew back into the game and they knocked Real Madrid out. That is it. So, at PSG, I think they can do the same thing. They can do the same thing. And he has really spotlighted out onto things. Set pieces, corners and free kicks. If Arsenal really find themselves in a position of really scoring a set piece through a corner or a free kick, maybe they can overturn the result. You know how the first leg really went down at Emirates when they're playing Real Madrid. 2 set pieces, crossed the goal line, and Arsenal won by 3-0. So this time round, I tell you this, it's not gonna be an easy affair for both sides. Even PSG know it very well. That's why they benched most of the players over the weekend. Because if they thought it was done business, there was no reason for them to bench their players. They would have gone ahead, obviously, play them. You understand? And Neville hinted on to Arsenal playing most of their players, and they lost to the side known as Bournemouth. I really understand, but you have to ask yourself, where exactly is the mind of these players right now? That's what you have to ask. That's the big question that you have to obviously pose and give yourself an answer. We can all understand that the minds of these players were in Paris. And that's where they're obviously thinking. And the return of Thomas Partey gives Arsenal a very huge boost into that midfield, because it will help, or it will aid Declan Rice to really play a lot into the more advanced positions of the pitch, where he really looked deadly when they're playing against Real Madrid. And good enough, Partey accomplished all that game fit, and he's now ready for Paris. And who is obviously going to get the Paris job done to go and play in the finale? That's what you're really waiting in here for, because it's really going to be a heated up game and affair. Gary Neville concluded by saying beating PSG and reaching the Champions League finale would be an incredible achievement. So, obviously it will. And he has also hinted on to being a season-defining game and a career-defining game for most of the players at Arsenal, especially for a player known as Bukayo Saka. Because for Saka, as I told you, if he really leads Arsenal to the triumphing of the Champions League, he will be in line to win the Ballon d'Or. That is it. He'll be in line to win the Ballon d'Or. And I think he's really working hard to see to it that he really be the man responsible for really knocking out PSG. And PSG is also really good, and we wait to see how things obviously going to be panning out into that mix altogether. But all in all, I want to let you know that it has never been a done game, especially at this level, when it's just a one goal that is separating these two sides that we are really talking about right about now. So Arteta also had something to say about them playing against PSG after losing to a side known as Bournemouth over the weekend. That was a Saturday. He said, well, we certainly wanted to create a really good vibe. A positive result would really help us to build what we wanted towards Wednesday. So what we have created now is a lot of rage, anger, frustration, and a bad feeling in the tummy. So make sure that we use that for Wednesday to have a massive performance in Paris, win the game and be in the final. That is it. So that is exactly what he's really talking about as a manager. And he was like, the loss they got against Bournemouth will obviously gear up their anger, frustration, to see to it that all goes onto their favor to knock out the side of PSG. And we're here to wait and see how things really pan out. But I'm going to be dropping the match preview tomorrow. But Gary Neville has come out and really pointed at Arsenal to knock out PSG. So I don't know what your thoughts are about this. Do you think Arsenal really has a chance to knock out PSG? All that and more into the comment section below. Rokani David remains my name. Continue to subscribe. 5th of May it is. And that's what we're really having in here as the team of Rokani Media Football. Guys, see you in the next video. In the next 2 hours from now, we're going to be dropping another one. Please, bye-bye.